Do you step on the scale often? Once a week or maybe even daily? Today, I'm going to talk about why stepping too often on the scale is actually setting you up for failure. And if you're new here, please go ahead and click subscribe and grab the bell while you're down there so you know when a new video is dropped. I'm Camilla Sage, and I'm a clinical dietitian and a binge and emotional eating coach, as well as a life coach and a women's health coach. I'm also the founder of From Pressure to Pleasure, the program for releasing binge and emotional eating, weight loss struggles, and having a negative body image, because you deserve to feel your best, getting the results you dream of, and living your best life. So, in today's video, we're going to address everything regarding stepping often on the scale. And this is actually something so many women are doing every single day or even every single week. This is actually a strategy you might try to use to stay on track and be in control. However, it's not helping you, and you feel again and again like you're actually losing control, and that it's sometimes sending you into a deep dark hole where you literally throw the baby out with the bathwater because you think nothing works for you because the scale hasn't moved, or maybe it even went up overnight. And if we start our day with stepping on the scale, this is a massive problem, because if you see a number that you don't like I mentioned, maybe it has slightly gone up over the past few days, or at least it hasn't gone down, no matter how hard you've pushed your calorie deficit or how hard you've been working out, then that number you dislike gets to decide your mood today, since it will determine if you are good enough or not, if it's working for you or not. And it will determine how you eat that day. And maybe you're stepping into a mindset of self-torment and self-loathing because you are punishing yourself with eating as little as possible to compensate to lose that weight. And it gets to decide how you feel about yourself today, what you think about yourself. And it really affects the version of yourself you are that day, because it sets the emotional state you're in, therefore also your moods and the thoughts you're thinking, not only about yourself, but how you are resilient in handling your day. And it will affect the version of you have to give to the people around you. You have to give at work, and how you show up in every part of your day. So, for the women I work with, weighing themselves is often not a matter of information as facts. It's actually an emotional reassurance that you are on the right path, and that you're good enough, and that you're doing enough, and you try to seek certainty in being on track to reaching your goals through stepping on the scale, because you're so terrible afraid of failure that you constantly question if this is going good, if it's actually going where you want it to go, and if you're going to make it. And when someone has such a relationship with their weight, the scale is actually the worst tool you can use to track progress and to potentially also lose weight. And I'm going to list a few things here, which is why it is the worst tracking tool you can use. So, the first thing we need to mention is that it creates a mindfuck. Excuse my French, but it does. For those who weigh themselves very often, it's usually not about weight as a fact, as I mentioned. It's connected to your self-worth and whether you're good enough. And when the weight isn't the positive number and wonderfully uplifting number you really want to have, because how often is it anyway? Then the following mindfucks kicks in. Oh no, I weigh half a pound or 1 pound more than yesterday. How can I be such a failure? Nothing works for me. Or, I've eaten so little and I've been so strict for 2 weeks. Why have I only then lost a pound? Oh, fuck it. This isn't worth it. I'll have my cake and eat it then. Or this is another one. Oh no, I've gained 4 pounds since yesterday. What's going on? That's it. I'm going to work out twice a day and not eat for the entire week. Maybe I'll even do a water fast. And if you have your self-esteem and your self-worth linked to the number on the scale, if these are merged, then it's very bad to use the weight as a measuring tool for progress, because it will only reinforce the mindfucks around food, around your body, your self-esteem, and your own beliefs about your own identity, who you are, and your own capabilities, if you're actually able to make it. So these mindfucks are really severe, and they are affecting so much of your day if you are using the scale as a way to track progress. The second thing we need to mention are your hormones, because there are daily variations in your weight because of your cycle. Our bodies are in a daily and in a monthly cycles when we're women. Men have a cycle of 24 hours. Women have a cycle both of 24 hours, but also of 28 to 32, 33 days. And we change constantly every second day or so. And a week or before your period, you might feel like a walking water balloon. You're bloated, your clothes feel tight, your rings are tight on your fingers, and it might also be a couple of days in the middle of your cycle around ovulation when you're really swollen and your body is carrying a lot of extra water and your belly is really like tense and stands out. So you're carrying a lot more water depending on where you are hormonally in your cycle. Therefore, it's not optimal to use daily or even weekly weight as a measuring tool for progress, because it will depend on where you are in your cycle. And if that is going to decide whether you are on track to lose weight or not, that is literally the recipe of a disaster, because these hormonal changes can lead to big fluctuations that have nothing to do with how much fat you're carrying on your body. And therefore, you are settling yourself up for failure, self-loathing, self-torment, and self-punishment. And then you will directly have so many bad days when you look blindly at the scale for these measuring purposes of seeking security, of getting progress. And the third thing we need to mention is actually sleep. Because just one bad night of sleep, let's say the kids kept you awake, or you were just tossing and turning, or your head was just spinning all night and you really couldn't get this solid, deep, and good night of sleep. This can also actually affect the number on the scale severely, because this can actually lead to weight gain. However, this is water, it's not fat. And we retain more water when we sleep poorly. And if this continues over time, we can also end up with a higher degree of inflammation in our body. And all of this will affect our whole entire system, not only our hormonal system, but also our digestion, our energy, our nervous system. And this is why we can actually end up with a much higher degree of inflammation in the body if we continue to sleep poorly over time. And this, like I mentioned, it affects our whole body, all systems in it, our overall health, and our body's ability to lose weight. So lack of sleep can actually affect your ability to lose body weight in a very negative way, because lack of sleep very negatively affects your body's capability to burn fat, because lack of sleep increases your cortisol levels. So that is basically the gas pedal for fat storage and the handbrake on for fat burning. So this is why sleep is essential. And so many people, when they want to start creating changes in their habits and lifestyle and wanting to lose weight, they turn to the diet industry and fitness industry, and then they go on some approach with diet and exercise that aren't tailored to someone with such a hectic life. If you have a career and a very intense job and so much more responsibility and tasks to do every day, and maybe a family and friends and all things that needs you and expects things from you. Very many, when they are starting their own transformational journey, they take something and throw it into an already full plate without taking something off that plate. And what they very often reduce then to actually fit that in is their time in bed, their sleep. So they are trying to do the right actions, but their body won't respond because the basic need to actually be in a hormonal balance that will lead your body into fat burning are messed up from the get-go. And this takes us into the fourth thing we need to mention, and that is actually stress. Because stress has the same effect on the body as lack of sleep. It affects our ability to burn fat, and it increases our ability to store fat. Not only that, but it also increases the amount of water we have in our body, as well as it increases the degree of inflammation we have in our body. In other words, if we experience a lot of emotional stress, physical stress, and mental stress, this will affect our weight in a negative way, not only metabolically, but also due to us being very stressed out, makes us being more reactive to food, for example, to cope, to get relax for a second, to just get a break and make poorer choices instead of being less stressed and being really mindful and connected to how we want to support ourselves and how these choices are ways we respond to life and how we want to take care of ourselves, not only now, but also 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the road. And the fifth thing we need to mention is that weight is not always an indicator of progress. Because changes can occur in our body's composition and also in our appearance without showing on the scale. You can feel better, you can feel slimmer, and you can feel that your clothes are a bit more loose and that they fit differently. But then you step on the scale and it shows that you weigh the exact same number, or maybe you've even gained a couple of pounds over the last couple of weeks. And this leads you straight into feeling sad and frustrated, and you completely reject the feeling of being maybe even slimmer or feeling lighter or feeling better in your body and in your wardrobe, and etc. So you stop trusting yourself and your own perception of how you feel in yourself, and then you just lose all motivation and feel like it's hopeless anyways. So when you were actually on track to getting a lot of progress, you just stopped because you all of a sudden bought this illusion that, nope, nothing I'm doing is working. It's doomed. And the sixth thing we need to mention is actually salty foods and alcohol. So if you have eaten food with a lot of salt in it, or if you have been drinking alcohol, your body will keep water. And many women are trapping themselves in these situations because they get so frustrated from the numbers. They think, oh, fuck it. When I've gained all of this from just having a few glasses of wine on Friday, I might as just give up. And then they overindulge in more food and wine, or even they go through the week having a quote unquote bad week because quote unquote nothing is working for them. However, this isn't fat storage, this is water retention. And it comes from not only the alcohol being a poison to our body, but also from all the salt in the food. And this takes us also into the seventh thing we need to take into consideration, which is the composition of your meals, because this actually plays a huge role. And the composition of your meals will affect your digestion. And sometimes the food we eat takes longer to move through the digestion tract. And if you're not mindful of this, you might end up stepping on the scale only to find out that you've gained 4 pounds. But that isn't pure weight. It's actually stool. You're literally just more full of shit. So it's not something that has gone onto your hips or anything. This is just your body preparing to having a solid trip to the loo. But when we are tapping into this information in this way, we obviously let a component like weighing ourselves and letting the number on the scale decide a very important part in our life when we try to work for something and create change. So all of these factors that influence the number on the scale has a lot of variation depending on how we live and how we show up. And this is also why it's so negative to use the scale as a measurement of progress if we also have a really low self-worth and have a really negative body image. Because if we have merged weight with these things so that your self-worth is defined by the number on the scale, then all confidence regarding if you're doing the right things and if they actually work for you, those will disappear if you see a crappy number or a bad number. And that will lead you straight into having really shitty days where you feel in despair, where you feel like a failure. You may be sabotaging for yourself, and this will continue to tear you apart, and you will tear yourself down, and it will remove you even more from where you want to go, because you will tap into all of these behaviors and mindsets and thoughts and actions where you will just move even further away from where you want to be, because then you probably just say, fuck it, I'll just enjoy myself anyway because it's not worth it. And then we overindulge in the things that takes us even further away from where we want to be. So only relying on the number on the scale is actually a really bad strategy to both feel good about yourself in the process, and it doesn't say anything about you being on track or not if we do it too often. Therefore, we need better ways to track progress over time, which also builds your self-confidence in the process, because you see that you're doing all of these action steps that in the total sum will take you there if you're just patient enough. Because it's basically that simple. It's as simple as it's the same things we need to be doing to keep a healthy weight, to take care of our health, to live a healthy lifestyle, as it is when we are trying to get there. So it's not about doing something for just a period of time. It's actually tapping into how do you want to live, and how is the version of you that has the body, has the lifestyle, have the self-confidence and self-worth and the identity and the body image which you are living within that dream life you're picturing. You need to tap into that version of yourself, and then your body just needs time, because then you're already showing up and living as the person you really want to be and how you want to live. And then your body just needs time to catch up with you in the process. And by showing up like this actually also builds your integrity and your identity along the way, which removes the doubt and the self-loathing and the all or nothing mentality and all the fuck it moments, because you start trusting yourself and the fact that you are showing up time and time again along the journey. So that was it for today. And if you want to know more about my work and how all the mental aspects of diets and weight loss actually can also lead to binge and emotional eating, and what you have to do to break free from these things if you're already stuck in these struggles, as well as the diet cycle, then check out my free training. I have added links below in the show notes. So that's it for today, and if there's anything you want me to make a video about, then please drop it in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.